to everyone. Let me take this particular opportunity to welcome you to today's class. That will delve around the issue of mics, and you get to realize that mics are very key in terms of what we do from the very beginning all the way to the end in audio production. Now, initially, we had been talking about studio, and we moved out of the studio with acoustics, and out of acoustics, we also talk sound. Today, we now, sorry, when you talk about microphones, it's a very huge area. Requires one's attention, one to the science side of it, and two to the application side of it. Our discussion is not going to focus on science. We are not engineers. The engineers have done their so ours will be able to focus side. Now, the reason why we are saying that is because as a journalist and as a media producer and as a media worker, normally in one way or the other, from time to time, as work in the broadcast industry, you have to realize that you'll be required to be able to record audio because that particular audio is what shall be able to deliver the message from yourself as the message source to that particular. If it's not the one that is going to transfer the message, in one way or the other, it's going to be shows that you see so that at the end of the day, the audience that will be watching can be in a position what is being shown, what are we being told by the message sender. So that's very key, and that's why now for us to be able to understand basically what you're saying, normally I tell people in an environment where it's very quiet, not that there is no sound. But what normally happens is there could be sound, but there is no enough energy to have vibrations and to create the vibrations of the air that is surrounding us so that you can be able to sound. So when we get at that particular point where end disturbance that has enough energy, able to create disturbance of the air molecules that are surrounding us, get sound. So the moment we get sound into our ears, the sound is actually connected and the mind can be able now to use this sound, and this is what we are getting from it. Or not through our ears, ears are going to act like microphone. So we need now to be able to change our ears into microphone, and once those sound, those particular vibrations around the microphone are going to be held by the microphone. The microphone normally what it does is to pick energy in form of sound waves and it and change it or convert it into waves. These electrical waves are going to be on a level that they cannot be heard. So they need to be in terms of their say in terms of their so you require a preamp, and this is the energy from the mic level into the line level, and the line level is what now can be converted again into electromagnetic energy, and this electromagnetic energy is what now can be stored by the recorder, or it's what that can be stored in YouTube, or what can be stored in the DVD. So once it has been converted into the electromagnetic wave, it's going to be going into two different directions, either of two different directions. One, it's going to be stored, like I've told you, on a DVD, on a CD, or on a tape. Or if it was a scenario where there's a live broadcast, that particular that electromagnetic wave is going to be channeled onto a transmitter. And that particular transmitter will still get that electromagnetic wave or energy and be able to transfer that into a radio set that will be positioned in our various homes. And once our radio transistors receive these particular magnetic waves, they are absorbed by the area, and the area takes that particular electromagnetic wave into the radio set. The radio set is now able to convert it from the electromagnetic wave into an electrical energy. Once it's converted into an electrical energy, then it's going to be again converted into a sound wave by the speaker of the radio. Then we can be able to hear that particular voice. So you get to realize that it's a process that begins with the sound wave picked by the microphone and changed into an wave, picked by the recorder and changed into an electromagnetic wave, or picked by the transmitter and converted into an electromagnetic wave and transferred into a radio set. Radio set has the energy to be able to convert that electromagnetic wave into an electrical energy. From an electrical energy, then it converts it into the sound wave, and then we are able now to listen to the radio. It's basically what happens, and that's the role that the microphone does. Now, in case that particular audio was actually uh, recorded and sold, now what's going to happen is when we are able to play the DVD or the CD or the tape, what will happen is we shall be able to convert the electromagnetic wave into an electrical wave, then into a sound wave, and we be able to hear exactly what we did. So that is the simple procedure that we transfer and convert sound until it gets to that particular point where we're able to get it, either to listen to it in our homes through the DVD or through the audio tapes, or through the radio when we are listening to live programs that are broadcast over the radio. Simply said, that's how that particular audio works. So I want to share with you. I hope that you can be able to hear. I mean, you can be able to see this. I'm going to basically draw something here. We are going to have use this one first. Allow me just in a minute. We're going to have this is the microphone there, and we are going to have a recorder, or we are going to have transmitter there. Then we are going to have now so this is basically what will happen here. We'll have the microphone at this particular point here. In this particular microphone, when it gets sound from the environment, that's from the surrounding environment, sound is going to hit this particular microphone. So it's going to get there. And once it gets into this particular microphone here, what's going to happen is it's going to be converted from a sound wave into an electrical wave. This electrical wave is what is going to be taken into this particular recorder here. This is the recorder. So in the recorder, this particular sound is now going to be converted from an electrical wave into an electromagnetic wave. And once it has been converted like that, then it's going to be pushed into the transmitter here. Now, what this particular transmitter does is to channel that particular audio to the various radio sets at home. That's the transmitter there. Then we are going to have that received by the radio. Once it's going to be received by the radio, then what's going to happen is we shall be able to listen it at home. How does that happen? This converts the electrical wave into the electromagnetic wave, and this can be stored here, or it actually can be channeled onto the transmitter. And what will happen with the transmitter is this particular transmitter is going to carry that particular electromagnetic wave or energy just the way it is, because that's how it does happen that this particular wave can be sent from one end to the other. You get to realize that there are transmission masks, and these particular transmission masks are the ones that are positioned or put in a way to be able to send out that particular signal. So once that has been sent out like that, what's going to happen is it's going to be received by the radio set, and once it's going to be received by the radio set, it's going to be converted from the electromagnetic wave, and And this electromagnetic wave shall be converted into electrical wave, just like what we had between the microphone and the recorder. Then the radio set has the ability now again, just within itself, to be able to change it into, just a minute, be able to change it into the electrical wave, then from the electrical wave into the sound wave. Uh-huh. 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 Yeah. Uh-huh. That's from Baba. Ndabona ko karatiga nakora kake ingwe ndenga na pop akulia to takire chinge go tigo que abanyabanya ko bamana abanyabanya ko bamana ye kwende materials go sai woro ndi gona ande wakana ndera ati digango rai gracias. Anga ko tamu ka kurwa. Okay, sorry for that. Let's come back and look into what I was trying to explain to you. That what happens at this particular point in time is the electromagnetic waves are actually converted by the radio set into an electrical energy, and this particular electrical energy is what is now fed into the speaker of the radio, so that the speaker converts it from electrical energy into sound energy, and that particular sound energy is what we get finally getting out of the radio, and something that it's actually what we are able to hear when we are at home. It's simply the same sound that was actually fed into the microphone. It's actually the same kind of sound. Now, when we talk about these particular microphones, we need to be able to understand that we have different types of microphones. Now, one, we talk about differences in relation to who manufactures these particular microphones, and what are they manufactured for, so that we can be able to talk about condenser microphones, we talk about the ripon microphones, we talk about dynamic microphones. So these are the types of microphones, and they're related in terms of how they're manufactured and how they have been designed. But our main area of concern will not be on the how they are manufactured, but we want to focus on what we call polar differences. Now, polar is basically uh, about the pickup patterns. How are these particular microphones designed so that they can be able to pick up what sound? So when we talk about the pickup patterns or the polar patterns, we will get to realize that we normally have three main types of microphones. This is very key for us because in whatever way we are going to work in the industry, we'll be looking into microphones from those main areas. One, we shall be able to look into what we call the unidirectional mics. So when we talk about the unidirectional microphones, these are microphones that pick audio from one specific direction. Now, what it means, therefore, is that if you are using your microphone in a given environment, let's take an example, you are in a football pitch and you want people from a particular side to be heard only. For example, if there are two teams that are actually playing, and you want to mute one particular side, but not entirely mute them, but their sounds, it's a natural way of how you can make a difference that one particular side is going to be heard more than the other. You will have this particular unidirectional microphone, and it's going to pick sound from that specific direction alone. And what you get to realize is that if you place the microphone right here, it will be able to pick sound in a probably 30 or less degrees. Sometimes people can say it will be able to pick about 15 degrees. Uh, so it all depends on how you place this particular microphone. So it will be able to ignore this other sound from these particular sides here. That particular sound will be ignored. But what will be channeled into this particular microphone will only be coming from this one particular direction that we actually have on this side. But this other rest of the audio that shall be coming into the microphone, that shall actually be ignored. So this particular microphone is actually good, for example, for people who are doing reporting. You could be reporting in crowd or in an area where there's a lot of noise that is surrounding you. So the best thing that you can be able to do is try as much as possible so that you can be able to sound that is coming or noise that is coming from the sides and have your microphone unto you, pointed unto you, so that you can be able to gather this particular audio that you are producing as a presenter or a reporter, as you know the rest of. That's how good this particular microphone can be. It's so good in terms of you moving into a crowded area and there's no much that you can be able to do in terms of controlling them. The best that you can be able to do is simply pick on a microphone like this one and work with it. So that's what we call the unidirectional microphone, a microphone that is capable of picking sound only from one particular only from one particular side. You ignore the rest of the sides. That's what we call the unidirectional microphone. Number two, we have what we call the bidirectional. So when we talk about the bidirectional microphone, this particular microphone is basically like the term pi. It's capable of picking sound from two directions. For example, if you have the microphone here, this is where the microphone is. Sound that is coming from this particular side will be able to get into, or it will be able to be picked by the microphone, and the sound that is coming from this particular side too will actually be picked by this particular microphone. So what will happen at the end of the day is this now can help you a great deal if you're going to have a kind of discussion, you're going to have a kind of an interview. The best microphone that you can be able to pick for the two of you, if it does happen, is actually this particular microphone. Why? Because it will know sound that is coming from this particular direction, so it will block it, and sound that is coming from this other direction here, it will be able to block it. Don't allow that particular sound to be able to be absorbed or be picked by the microphone. So you allow now that particular microphone to pick sound from you as the host, and sound from the guest. So you are the host here, and you have the host somewhere here. And once you have that particular host there, you get to realize then that the sound that is going to be picked is actually mainly going to come from those two sides. You are at liberty now to be able to ignore. The reason why this might be the best as compared to the unidirectional that we have just discussed is because if you're talking about the unidirectional microphone, you point it towards you yourself. That is, you ask a question, then you will be able to point it to the guest for him or for her to be able to respond to that particular question. This, at the end of the day, does not give you that natural responding way to the way we naturally respond to questions that we are being asked. It denies you that natural setting, makes that particular interview to be more unnatural. And if it's going to be natural, then it doesn't really go down well with that particular audience that you'll be serving. If you have this one here, sometimes you can be worked up, and that this particular guest is going to be worked up. How you exchange and how you ask your questions here and there, you're going to really make it more interesting and more natural compared to when you make use of the unidirectional. For example, look into a scenario where you are you are actually conducting a program like Hot Seat. If we watch the BBC World News TV, the Hot Seat there, then there's another program that is on Al Jazeera, which is very hotly repeated. Such a scenario, if you do not have two microphones where you can be able to give one to the host and then go and get this particular microphone, this bidirectional microphone, it will be able to help you a great deal. and it shall be able to help you bring that particular level of natural setting. Then number three, we have what we call the omnidirectional microphone. Omnidirectional microphone. So when you talk about the omnidirectional microphone, it's a microphone that when you're using it, let's take an example. This is the microphone. This is the microphone that we have here. It's capable of picking sound from all these particular directions. For those of us who go to church, Omen means all present. This is a particular microphone that has the ability to be able to carry and pick sound from all these particular directions that we have here. So the best thing that you can be able to do is if you have a particular function or a particular production, and you get to realize that you have like 3, 4, 5 people on set. These people that you have on set, you do not have enough microphones that you can give each and every individual. The best that you can be able to do is basically to make an omnidirectional microphone. It will be positioned at the center, and every individual is going to use of it. It's going to capture his or her voice. And again, look into a scenario where you are in a footbridge and want the cheering to be felt from all directions, from all sides. The best kind of microphone to use actually is an omnidirectional microphone that will be able to help you in such a setup. But two, we always say radio is not limited. Make a decision that you'd want to do a drama program, and if you're going to do a drama program, drama in radio does not require us to be able to use the real setting. What will happen is the sound effects that you'll be able to use are the ones that will determine the kind of setting, the kind of location that we will be able to open the third eye and see. So if you're going to be in an environment like that one, what's going to happen is you need now to be able to place the microphone like this and have your characters or actors and actresses surrounding it like this. Then if an actor is moving away, naturally we will be able to know that that particular character has moved away. Why? Probably these two people were a distance apart. They have come together. They have said hi. For example, this character was point A, and this other character was at point B. And what's going to happen is when character A moves to character P so that they can meet at this particular point, you can use this particular microphone so that this particular character is going to move this particular direction and this other character is going to move this direction so that they can be so close to the microphone. Once they get closer to the microphone, we feel now they are together. And once they have said hi, they have exchanged one or two or three things. What's going to happen is that now character B is going to proceed with his journey, and the character A is going to proceed with his journey. What's going to happen is the moment you place them here, they are going to again move away from the microphone, and this one also to move away from the microphone. And what we shall be able to have is a natural feeling that when these people met, they came together, they shared one or two words in terms of saying hi, and they departed ways. And when that happens, then you get to know that's how it did happen. Now, what's going to happen if you want to bring the sense that this is something that was happening along the streets? What's going to happen is you can to people now to do what? You can people to bring in the sound effects. Now, what the sound effects are going to do, they are going to give us the right feeling of this being home. For example, if you wanted to make us feel that this is probably at home, you can have a dog barking, you can have a cock crowing, you can have a cat meowing. So when you have these sounds of these particular animals at the different intervals, depending on how you design your sound, what's going to happen at the end of the day is we will be able to feel this is home. If you'd want us to feel this is in the kitchen, why don't you make create sounds of utensils being knocked here and there, being arranged here and there? You know, that will give us the sense of this is the kitchen. And if you will be talking about preparing a meal, you'll be talking about kitchen issues and kitchen things, then we'll be able to know. We'll be able to know that what you are doing and where you're doing it is actually kitchen. So these are the things that we need now to be able to know how they act on. So we see now how that can be able to help us now or work on the same. So after we have looked into those three types of microphones, what we call the polar patterns or the pickup patterns of the microphones, I want to bring to your attention uh, one thing, that is when we are talking about the use of the microphones in our studio, use of the microphones in our studio, we need to be able to understand that when we find a microphone in the studio, normally, probably, and possibly it's either going to be an omnidirectional microphone. And if it's not an omnidirectional microphone, it's going to be a unidirectional or a bidirectional microphone. But once we know that that is the kind of microphone that we have, then we need now to be able to know in terms of its application, what will be the distance that we can have the microphone from our mouths, because that is very key in terms of how we make use of the microphone. What is the likely distance? What will be the best distance that we can be able to have in relation to the microphone that we have? Now, normally I say and I advise that if this is the microphone that we have and that this is your mouth, at that particular point there, the distance between your lips and the microphone should not be less than 15 centimeters. Should not be less than 15 centimeters. The reason why I say not less than 15 centimeters is because we need to be able to know that how we are brought up, the kind of accent that we have, and the kind of language we make use of on a daily basis determines how the plosive sounds will be said. How will these plosive sounds be said? Because these plosive sounds are very key in um, either making your sound to be pleasing or will be annoying. Now, when you talk about the plosive sounds, you are talking about words that make use of the letters like P, letters like T, letters like C, letters like letters like Z, letters like R, letters like D. Now, when you look into these and other letters, these letters at the end of the day will capitalize on how you ease your sound out. Now, if you look into these particular letters, then you will get to realize that in the English language, they are quite often used. So if you're going to have your microphone in less than 15 centimeters towards your mouth, then those plosive sounds are going to be exaggerated. And if they are going to be exaggerated, then what will happen is your voice is not going to be, it's not going to be pleasing. You need to be aware of that. And number two, the enunciation and the pronunciation of words can be distorted if you have your microphone in less than 15 centimeters. So you need now to be able to know that the moment you're going to enunciate and pronounce um, words, your um, the distance between your microphone and your mouth should be a bit higher than 15 centimeters. That's actually if we put that particular sign of calling. If you say if you're trying to gesture to somebody that I will call you, the thumb and the small finger, uh, you stretch them, then they will be able to give you the distance, so you can be able to measure that. And again, in relation to this particular distance of not less than 15 centimeters, we normally tell people that you need now to be able to know the kind of microphone that you're using in terms of its manufacture, because we talked about the dynamic microphone, the condenser microphone, and the ribbon microphone. And those particular uh, differences I've told you, they're there. You back and look into them in the notes, in the video that I've shared with you, and what I've actually explained in this particular video. So you need now to be able to understand, because there are particular microphones that have been designed that if you don't pull them so close to your mouth, then they will not be able to pick the sound. For example, if you're making use of a microphone that's designed to be used in a disco, you need to be able to put it so close to the mouth so that it can be able to pick that particular sound. And there are particular microphones like the Lavalier that has been designed that it has to be away like 70 centimeters, 90 centimeters, so that it can be able to pick that particular sound. So you need now to be able to understand which particular microphone am I having or am I using, then what will be the best distance for me to be able to place it. And again, you need now to be able to understand your language that you're using, the plosive sounds that that particular language gives you, and how best can you be able to run away from creating a sound that is going to be annoying to the ears of the listener. Instead, create sound that is going to be musical to that particular audience that you intend to be able to have. And also you need to be able to understand in terms of microphones that you're using. Some of us have very deep voices and some of us have shrill voices. You need to be able to identify and accept yourself. Don't try to imitate Jeff Koinange if you cannot be able to speak like him. Do not speak like Maina Kageni if you're not able to speak like him. Just give out that particular natural voice that you have, and from there, it shall be very easy for you to be able to how and what kind of voice that you can be able to use, so that you avoid these particular mistakes that we normally have the moment make use of uh, microphones. So I do not want to go far this particular topic. For the last 45 or so minutes, we have discussed and we have seen um, the topic and what we needed to be able to understand microphones and their applications. And it's my hope and my belief that we are all together in the same shoe and up to that particular point that we need to have. And you cannot be able to really understand this particular topic in isolation. You need to be able to go back and look into the last topic that is on sound. And there's no way you can understand sound if you do not go back and look into what we had discussed about in studio. And you need to be able to find a way to combine the studio and acoustics, because the two go hand in hand, or they actually go together. And that's how this particular unit has been designed. So take your time. I'm posting about 2 videos that will be able to explain to you what is it that we have in relation to microphones, and I will be able to post it to you some few notes that I've prepared for you about microphones. Find time and go through them, and if there's a question, feel free to be able to to ask. I will be able to respond to the same. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, James. Kuya James.
You are currently the only person in this conference.
Kuya James. Do you have a question? Okay, if you have a problem with your microphone, there's no problem. I understand gadgets have their own really issues, but I would want to advise you and the rest of your colleagues. You have not been attending classes. Find time to attend classes. Actually, this week I'm going to put at one I'm going to put Cat 1 on the portal. You need to be able to let even your colleagues know so that you can be able to attend it. I will be able to tell you exactly when we can be able to have it. So it will be within this particular week. we can say cut one. Let's say what cut one because I understand that a lot of us did miss one. Say we'll be able to attempt that. We can see what we can be able to sound. Okay, and I also inform them that they should be attending classes because attending classes also counts. They should not wait until they have been told now there's a cut. That's when they're coming in. Let them know that attending classes is also very key. Also very key in terms of determining the kind of progress that they are going to have. Okay, now we can end the meeting there. Uh, on the portal, I mean on the Moodle side, I'm actually putting there some notes and one or two videos that you can be able to watch. So you can move there and see that one. There's some notes that I'm going to put there too and read it them. So enjoy your evening and have the rest of the time.